What if the key to real success lies in redefining what truly matters? Does the idea of finding freedom and a fresh start resonate with you? I get it. After a few years of grinding in the corporate world, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We've all been there, searching for a way to balance success with personal fulfillment. On this week's episode, Carter Kenyon, a seasoned sales executive and health advocate, shares his journey from the heights of corporate America to a transformative focus on helping others. This conversation isn't just about leaving the corporate grind. Carter's experience with debilitating pain, his advocacy for wellness during the pandemic, and his passion for mentoring young entrepreneurs have all shaped his unique approach to life and business. His insights are invaluable. If you've ever felt burnt out and wondered if there's a better way to live and work, then this episode is for you. Carter, this conversation has been way too far in the making.
Holy moly.
Welcome to the Boss Too Hard podcast.
Eventually God finds a way to make it happen, doesn't he?
He does.
Man.
I believe it or not, he made it happen in a way that is, I could have never conceived all of this on my own.
No, when we talked about it and the roadblocks that were facing you, and you were worried about maybe I was getting offended or
Right,
no, I get it. It happens.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting in like the Taj Mahal of podcast studios in Orlando.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think it's just a testament, this whole idea of a podcast, the name Boss Too Hard, it literally came in a download from God. And it comes from the story of, really being burnt out in my corporate position and needing to find something more, right? And wanting to really have impact in my community. But then starting out as a freelancer, I just wanted to freelance, make enough to pay my bills.
Right.
And then I bossed too hard, had a whole dang business, and was almost, I wouldn't say almost, I was back in where I started. I mean, there was a season, Carter, I was losing my hair.
Losing your hair.
I have great hair.
From worry. You
from
do
stress.
have great, you have thick, we both have very thick hair.
Yeah. My sister-in-law was braiding my hair, and she's like, hey, I don't know if this is normal, but it's really thin in the back here. And I was like, no, I have a lot of hair. I just have fine hair. It's normal.
Yeah.
But I went into the bathroom and I did the mirror thing. I was like, oh my God.
Ouch. That's a little scary.
And I was like, something has to change. So believe it or not, in the same space where I was like, something has to change, I can't lose my hair. I can't let this happen.
No.
You started popping up on my stories more.
Oh boy.
And, we've known each other for a couple of years.
Yep.
But we haven't had a whole lot of, I would say they're quality interactions, but they're not lengthy interactions.
No. That's what's so wild about this journey.
Yeah.
It's not like you and I have had sit downs of 2-hour conversations together.
But I feel like we're great friends.
Yep.
And so I watched you and the way you support your daughter and the way you fangirl her and show up for her.
Oh, man.
And the way you show up for yourself and, your journey with chronic pain and watching you show up at the gym. I remember telling myself, Carter's doing it. Carter's showing up. He's showing up in his business. He's showing up for his family and he's showing up for himself.
Yeah.
I have got to stop making excuses. And that's where my motto, actions lead and feelings follow, came in. And I'm like, you got to do it, girl. Figure it out.
I love that motto, by the way. I didn't know. I did not know that was recent.
Yeah.
That you started that, because that's beautiful.
It's about a year old.
Okay.
But in that moment, I was like, I gotta walk the walk. I can't just talk the talk.
No, it's wild, because I go back. Like you said, we've only had a few conversations, like at the chamber and things like that. And I didn't know much about your background or what you were doing at the time. And then all of a sudden I see you popping up with these little social media workshops, and I'm thinking, right, that's kind of what it was,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking, well, that's just kind of cool. I wonder where this is going.
Yeah.
Then maybe 6 months later, I don't know, you were walking your dog and you were doing a social media post
Yeah.
and you gave a little update on what has happened over that period of time.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
You threw out some numbers, which I thought was so cool because so many entrepreneurs will be very afraid to go, this is how it's going. And it's not just great, but like I reached this number
Yeah.
financially.
Yeah.
And I thought, how transparent, how cool. Like I was so encouraged and pumped about it. My son has his own business.
Mhm.
And I go, you got to see what she's doing.
Wow. Thank you
You
for
got to see
that.
you got to see what she's doing. And that's when I started reaching out to you and
Yeah.
go, don't you dare quit.
Yeah.
Holy cow, this is so cool. You know? So my dream is that more people will drop what they're doing, even if it's just for 30 seconds to a minute, to encourage folks like that in their journey. At that
Yes.
point,
Yes.
it's like you have no idea what that does for the person on the other end.
Yeah.
And you have to mean it.
Mhm.
You have and really appreciate it. Don't go making compliments because you think it's the right thing to do. I was seriously impressed because I know how hard it is.
I think that's the key right there, knowing how hard it is. The entrepreneurial journey is the wildest roller coaster you will ever ride.
Forget about it. Forget about it. You better love what you're doing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And it's still going to suck.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that when you surround yourself with the right people, in our last episode, we talked about the necessity to have, a mentor, someone on your level that you're in community with, and then someone you're mentoring. And it really takes into perspective that Barnabas, Paul, and Timothy aspect that we see. And it's really scriptural. Leading, guiding, serving one another is very scriptural.
Absolutely.
And so over time, in our interactions, you've learned a lot about me. I've learned a lot about you. And what I can say is that you are an incredible encourager.
It's just in me. It's my DNA. It's not pretend. Yeah, I tell people because I hear that often.
Yeah.
Within my own organization, whatever ministry I'm involved in, they're like, man, you are such an encourager. And I'm like, it's just who I am.
Yeah.
When somebody is doing something amazing, I love taking a minute to go, can you believe what just happened here?
Yeah.
Let's not just race through all of this and not recognize these things.
It's the idea of celebrating, not just in business, but in life.
In life.
Being grateful and celebrating the moment is so important. We're always so quick to move through to the next level and not realize, look what just happened here.
Thank you.
And so I know that you probably have a journey full of stories like this. Not only where you've encouraged other people, but I bet you've had some really great encouragers along the way. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
That is so true. That is so true. And in this season of my life, and we talked a little bit before the camera started rolling, you get to a point where you start to reflect on the whole journey.
Yeah.
Being in corporate America at a very young age and spending 15 to 20 years in that, being very successful, making a great living. And you realize that it definitely wasn't all you. It was not all you. You had these people along the way that stopped and took a minute or took 5 minutes or took an hour or took days.
Yeah.
And they got you where you are. You did not do it all on your own. Because with this world we live in, it's all about you did it, you did it, you did it.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to step back and go, no, we had some key players that it was more than just a working relationship. They loved us.
Yeah.
And as I progressed through that journey into sales management and having teams, and I took on that. I took on those demeanors or whatever you want to call those aspects of how I did things. I got more joy out of the big commission taking a young person that was trying to get where they wanted to go in their career
Mhm.
and not just saying, I'll help you, but walking them through it every step of the way.
Yeah.
From prospecting to going on sales calls to helping them strategize. That's so fun. I just
Yeah.
think that's so fun.
Yeah.
Because if you live your life like that, the rewards financially usually come anyway.
Mhm.
So it's not, I just get more joy out of that. And I've carried that on through ministry, through, trying to guide entrepreneurs. It's just, it's a part of my DNA now, and it can freak people out. Like you're a little abnormal. Like
You're a
what
weirdo, Carter.
you're way too, yeah. Like what? Nobody's ever been around us like this. That's like thanking us for these little wins and going, hey
Yeah.
guys, let's take a minute to think about what just happened here.
Yeah.
Something incredible just happened in this organization, and it took like 20 people to pull it off. So instead of just rolling into the next day,
Mhm.
let's reflect. And there's a lot of that missing. And I believe we're entering a paradigm shift where corporations, and I hope ministries follow, where they realize that's part of a healthy culture.
Mhm.
Literally, there are large businesses now that are making roles at executive levels that focus nothing but on culture.
Yeah.
How smart is that?
Well,
Come on.
when we spend 8 hours, okay, so American standard
Maybe
work
right.
week,
Yeah.
40 hours a week.
Yeah.
40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, all of that. So a majority of the week, you only have really, if you sleep 8 hours, you've got
Right.
16 hours to work with.
Yeah.
You've got commutes, you've got getting ready, all of
So
those
add another
things.
2 hours, like for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's call it 3 because we hope people shower before they go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Please.
and so you've got 11 hours that you are really spending on this professional team that you're building and working with, and then 5 hours for your family. And so I've always thought about it. If I'm going to work for somebody else, I better be dang happy like where I'm working, because it matters.
Amen.
Because if it's bad at work, you take that
You
stuff
take it
home.
home. Oh man, you take it home. And I'm finding out. So what am I? I'm a Gen X. Gen X and Boomers, they accepted that. Like that was part of their life. You went to work, you had to suck it up.
Yeah.
If you worked for somebody that was a lunatic, you suck it up and you go to work.
Yeah.
I think that the younger generations coming up now, sorry, peace out. If you're going to make my life miserable, I, at a young age, have figured out what a quality of life, and having kids in that age group now, I'm so proud of them that they have figured that out.
Yeah.
Like they experienced a little bit of that, and they said, I'm not going to spend 20 years in that like my dad did.
I think this new generation, there's been a shift away from consumerism. And so you see it's trendy to thrift shop now. People are freelancing. We're living in smaller spaces.
Yes.
You still have people that are pursuing, those huge dreams and, status and all of that. But there's been a new shift in status, and a big shift in that status is not just the money that you have in your bank account, but being physically, emotionally, and mentally fit is now this new status symbol.
Man, you nailed it. You nailed it. And there's a lot, there's a lot of people out there preaching that now.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you don't have your health and wealth starts from the inside out.
Amen.
And so I had realized on this journey when your content started coming up, and I felt a conviction, and conviction is not bad. That's just the Holy Spirit talking to you.
It's a beautiful thing. That is the Holy Spirit, baby.
And it was, Laurel, like, you've been disciplined in all the areas of your life that don't really matter. Like, because if the end of the day, if you die tomorrow, what happens to those things? And so I got back on the, what is it? The bicycle? No, what's that?
You got on the stairs, didn't you?
No, no,
Did you start on
no.
the treadmill?
No,
Oh,
no, that metaphor that
oh,
people
the
use.
metaphor.
Yeah.
I thought you meant at the gym.
No, no, no. I got back on the literal bike,
Yeah.
but bandwagon or the
There, yeah,
horse.
get back up on the
Yeah,
horse, baby. Yeah.
yeah. So I got back up on my health horse.
Yes.
And so it's been, I feel so much better. I've been so much more productive in my business, but this is not a new concept to you.
No, it's not a new concept to me. And look, I've been a pretty healthy guy my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those things that you thought you needed to do. And probably looking good was more of a thing as you're younger.
It's a plus.
It's more about looking okay.
Yeah.
You're not thinking cardiovascular health, chronic disease. But then you start getting a little bit older. And in my case, you're diagnosed with chronic pain in your early 40s. And you realize that it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And you realize that you're not going to go through a major surgery with no guarantees that you'll come out any better. And most likely you'll still be seeing a pain management doc every 60 days.
Yeah. As
I do now. So then it's like, well, there's only one thing left.
Yeah.
It's all me. So then it started to become about strengthening my body and in particular, strengthening my mind. So doing hard things just sounds pretty, oh, everybody says that, go do hard things.
Yeah.
No, when I say it, I mean it. Like I'm putting myself in positions that I can't stand. I do not like it. And now there's proven data that strengthens up these centers in your brain.
Yeah.
To help you in every aspect of your life. And I'm telling you, over the last 3 years, I've lived it. I am able to push through things that the old Carter would never have a prayer of pushing through.
While also carrying so much more than the old Carter carried.
While carrying a lot of, look, man, it's hard. It's hard to explain. I know you've got a little bit of your family and you may talk about it, but waking up every day in pain is like, you got to be kidding me. This is my life.
Yeah.
And then you have to switch over to the perspective quickly, or you will go into the darkest hole you've ever been in. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to wake up and go, God, thank you that this is it. Yeah. That it's only this.
Yeah.
That's where I am today. I wake up and I go, whoa, it's only this. I can do this because I have people in my circle that are wondering if they're going to be alive in 6 months.
Yeah.
So when you put perspective, when you put it all in place, I will take this. I will take daily pain and know that I can push through this. And there are going to be days where I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You'll have those days.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know if I can push through this. I just need to lay on ice for 3 days and not move.
Yeah.
And that's being on full-time narcotics.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to a point, and this is where a real wake-up call hit me, is the medicine, or it's an opioid. It's a stage 3 pain management drug. Mm-hmm. So there's 5 stages in that.
I hate to say that I'm all too familiar with this terminology.
I know you are. So I'm at stage 3.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to go to 2 or 1.
Yeah.
Because when you go to 2, you go to fentanyl, which I know you're familiar with, or you're going to oxycodone.
Yeah.
So all the shows that you've watched on TV in the past and the documentaries that you've seen on that, I can tell you being on a stage 3 is real.
Yeah.
It's not acting. It can take you to places where you are not yourself. So I knew then I was never going to go above that. This is my goal now. I'm not going to be a pill popper.
Yeah.
I will not do it because I know what that brings.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fight with everything I have. And that's when the mental game and doing the hard things, and no matter what I'm doing for a living, no matter anything, it's got to take priority. It has to. So I want to encourage others that I'm doing this in chronic pain.
Yeah.
You're healthy. You're freaking healthy.
Yeah.
You really don't have an excuse.
So
that's why I was so proud of you when you did, because when you decided I'm getting on this, I go, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Because you got all the excuses in the world. 3 kids, business. Is your husband still deployed?
No, he's home.
Oh, he's home.
Praise God, he's home.
Okay, okay. So it's like, I'm going girl power when I see.
I love that.
When I see you take off. Don't get me going on women in leadership, because I am such a fanboy right now. I feel society's missed that boat in a big way. So look, when I see what you're doing, I'm like, let's go.
There's so many ways this conversation can go.
I know,
so the women in leadership,
I know.
I have said for a very long time that women have not fully stepped in to their power as leaders because they have not been celebrated enough. No. We think about the Me Too movement, and it came, it was empowering from a space of, I'm with you. I've experienced that too. And it really hurt, and you're not alone. But it's also comes from a space of, we had to stay quiet about abuse because we were afraid of the repercussions.
Yeah.
And so there's that space, not being able to step up in power. But then I also, because I am a believer, I have mentored a lot of young women. I don't believe the powerful stories of women in the Bible are preached enough from the platform.
That too.
Like Deborah. Deborah was a judge. And she led, it says in the Bible, she led as a mother. She was the mother of Israel. She didn't try to be the general of Israel. She didn't try to be the father of Israel. No, she owned her God-given femininity and what the gifts that God had given her because she was a woman to lead. And the men trusted her. When we think about Jesus and his ministry, he didn't separate women from men. Mary Magdalene, in all her flaws, served right next to everyone else. Yeah. And so by not
preach,
I feel like we're not telling the right stories about women. And that's why it's taken us so long to get here. Whew. So there's that.
Yes.
I'll end there because that's a whole nother
topic. Because that is a whole we could have a podcast on that.
Yeah. But the idea of training your mind as you train your body. And so one of my mantras when things are hard and there's nothing else that I can say, I tell myself I can do hard things. Yeah. It's as simple as that, because it has been proven. The more you tell yourself, this is hard, I can't do this, I'm scared, your brain, when it starts to feel different emotions in spaces, it will automatically tell you like, hey, don't do that. Don't go there.
Absolutely.
Because you're so used to diverting the fear.
Absolutely.
Or diverting the uncomfortable thing. But when you step up and like, you know what? I am scared. I don't feel like I have courage. I am doubting myself. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyways because I can do hard things. Something shifts. And so one of the spaces in my life that have been hard was my mom walked through the chronic pain journey. And at times I felt like I feel I didn't live in her body. I don't know what she walked through. I know it was hard. For years it was hard. But sometimes I feel like she made the easy choice.
Yeah.
In more pills, more prescriptions. I'm in pain. Let's take more pills. Oh, the pills aren't enough. Oh, I'm going to find, another alternative to find more pain medication.
Oh boy.
And I understand that we work with the tools that we have. We only have so many tools in our toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, we have to position ourselves and pursue alternative tools.
Yes.
But that's a choice.
That is a choice.
And every day, whether you're walking through a health crisis, your relationship, your business, you have to make a choice to step forward, step back, step sideways, or stay right the heck where you are.
Yeah.
And staying right where you are is sometimes the most dangerous space to be.
Big time. Big time. Big time. No. And you're right. You didn't walk in her body. You didn't feel the pain. And a lot of times it is hard to understand when you haven't been through it.
Yeah.
Just like somebody that's going through cancer. You can empathize with them, but if you haven't been there, you don't know what chemo's like.
Yeah.
You don't know what losing your hair is like.
Yeah.
Except when you get nervous.
Right? When you're stressed out because you bossed too hard.
You bossed too hard.
I go bald.
You know? But that's a better reason than cancer.
Yes, absolutely. I was able to fix that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough, but yes, you're right. I do think that we can analyze what our why is and why we want to be here and make a choice to be better and do those hard things. And that's where I had to go.
Yeah.
Because it is a much easier choice to go, I'll go see every doctor I have to go see to get more pills and not feel any pain. It just is. That's what a pain journey on narcotics is like. Okay.
Addiction is scary.
It is scary. And I will tell you, even though I'm only on a stage 3 pain management drug medicine, there are still very addictive properties to this.
Yeah.
So there have been times in this 12-year journey of being on this where, let's just say, insurance hasn't put an approval through. And you're standing at a pharmacy and the meds have left your system. Every minute after that, you're slowly going into a withdrawal. Yeah. And you start to freak out because these medicines run through your bloodstream right up to your brain. Yeah. We are talking about the control center for everything. Yeah. You can't fight that. Yeah. When you get to that point, it is now beyond saying, I can just fight through this. Now your brain is just off. The circle has now turned into a gap and a triangle, and nothing is working. So I've experienced a few of those days, and it turned me into somebody that I don't want to be. So even more reason not to ever have to go to another level of those medications, and to do everything you can to prepare yourself, because there's going to be times where things like that happen. You know,
they happen in business too.
Amen. Right.
It's like there's nothing that you can do at this moment but make the best of it.
Yep.
And choose to do the hard thing, which is moving forward.
Yes.
Stepping back.
Yep.
And so, Carter, you've had a successful career.
Yeah, I think so. I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed. I have been very blessed. And
so you recently had to make a hard business decision. And so you had an opportunity to acquire a new business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've entered this phase in life. Just to take a little step back.
Yeah.
I knew as like a teenager I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It's crazy because remember, that's 30 years ago. There was no internet. There was no people creating businesses in their homes.
There weren't people dancing on TikTok and getting paid money for it.
There was none of that. If you were going to be an entrepreneur back in those days, it was going to be brick and mortar. Yeah. It was going to be traditional. Yeah. As all get out. Well, I started making really good money at a young age.
Hmm.
And then you get trapped by making good money at a young age.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is something I walked both of my boys through. I go, do not let that happen to you in your journey. If you want to be entrepreneurs, you stay committed to it while you're young. Because daddy got trapped in a six-figure it sounds horrible to say.
Right.
Okay, because so many people would want to be making a six-figure income 30
Right.
years ago. Okay, so it was really good money, and it's part of why I can sit here today and be in ministry, mentor, and look at other entrepreneurial
Right.
opportunities.
Right.
Okay, so it's but the point being, you can get into the corporate America grind, making great money, and it can very much deviate you from what really your heart wants to
Your
do.
calling.
Your
Yeah.
calling. And that's that happened to me point blank, because I always had this gene in me. Now, most of my jobs in corporate America was I had to go kill what I eat.
Yeah, commission based.
So you're kind of an entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
but you've got this team around you, and you're
Yeah.
not paying the bills.
If you're
and everything else.
1099, you're pretty much an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So it's like that. So now I'm at this stage in life where I just love analyzing businesses and businesses that are for sale, and why are they for sale? And the biggest transfer of wealth that's going to happen in our country in the next 20 years are small business owners retiring, some of them not even knowing what their business is worth.
Yeah.
And so people are coming in and getting great opportunities to buy effective businesses.
Cody Sanchez talks about it
all the time.
Boring
businesses. Boring businesses. So I've been studying that like crazy just because I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get this opportunity at a local establishment, and emotions got involved. And boy, oh boy, if I could warn anybody about going into a business opportunity, and I bet you, and I hear it and I read it, so 90% of the people that go in, they let their emotions get carried away, that it's awesome, it's a great opportunity, I know what's going on, I know what's going on here, it will only take this much to get in, and the profit margins are up here, and we'll be here in 2 years.
Right.
Well, let me tell you something, and the experts will tell you this, and you have to go through the walk and see it happen to really believe it. Data is king. I'm just going to tell you, don't ever think that you can acquire something, even if you've been in the business, worked in it, you see the inner workings, because my partner was in it. He was he's like, this is unreal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, doesn't matter, it's data. You have to see. That's why people hire lawyers to look at quality of earnings.
Yeah.
You don't skip steps.
Yeah, it's important.
But many do, because they look at something going, this guy's desperate. We can do this. We can scoop this up. Oh, there's always more to the story.
Yeah.
And I hesitate to say this, but just, I don't want to say you can't trust anybody.
We can always delete it later. Just say it.
Okay. I don't want to say you can't trust anybody, but in business, I don't care who it is and what they are telling you. You have to see what's going on behind the scenes, no matter what they are telling you to your face.
Numbers don't lie.
Oh,
man.
I
mean, I think every business can learn something from that. Like, in your business, do not make emotional decisions. Make data-based decisions.
Oh.
Where is the ROI in this decision? 100%.
Oh, no, not only ROI, just bank accounts, statements, how they've been paying bills, what have they been calling them. Come to find out, somebody owes a few $100,000 in rent.
And if you
it wasn't being categorized as that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by, there are some entrepreneurs that have gotten so such a bad taste in their mouth about how hard some of those things can be and the money you have to spend to really dot your I's and cross your T's,
Right.
that they'll go immediately into franchise. Because franchise, it's all booked up.
Yeah, it's
It's
all there
legal.
for you.
They play games
Yeah.
with you. They play games with you. You're taking them to court. And you're getting them.
Yeah.
You know, because of exactly the due diligence that it does take to really go and acquire an existing business.
So
But
it's safe to say you decided to step away.
yeah, sure enough, it closed its doors.
Oh, wow.
It closed its doors, and somebody else is residing in the property now. Yeah, so it's such a great lesson, and you have to. I mean, you want to be emotional about what you want to do. So hopefully, the business is something you would enjoy being a part of.
Yeah.
I mean, take the emotions out of. We got to get this done. This is amazing. This is a great deal. It's never that way. Yeah.
So Carter, that's incredible advice. But we have to have our Thanos moment here on the Boss Too Hard podcast.
Oh boy.
So, like I've said before, we're not ridding the world of half of its population at the snap of a finger. But at the snap of your finger, everyone has to stop and listen. What do you want them to hear?
Firmly qualify your why. What are you living for on a daily basis? Period. Take as much time as you have to take, and every decision you make after that be based on your why.
Carter, that's great advice. It's been great to have you.
Oh, I loved it. I love you. I love this. I love it. I think this is so cool how it all came together.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being part of that journey.
Absolutely. Anytime.
And thank you for tuning in to the Boss Too Hard podcast this week. We will see you soon.